You think you know He-Man, but this version of the story was buried. Skeletor already won. Grayskull is in ruins. The sorceress is a prisoner. And the greatest warrior Eternia has ever seen is a lumberjack. No sword, no memory, no idea who he is. Today, the Retro Secrets opens the file. He-Man, the masters of the universe. The story begins with Adam, but not the Adam you know. Here, he is a simple lumberjack. No palace, no throne, no sword of power raised in triumph. Just a man with no history, no last name, surviving in the forests of Eternia with an axe and a dying old man by his side. His father is called Fedor. Tired, broken, his mind unraveling one day at a time. No kingdom, no legacy, just a small cabin, a quiet life, and dreams that have no business belonging to a woodcutter. Because at night, Adam dreams. Heavy dreams, relentless dreams. A mighty warrior standing against the forces of darkness across all of Eternia. Dreams that feel too real to be random, too vivid to be fiction. And here is the question the comic plants before anything else has even happened. If Adam is just a lumberjack, why does he dream like a king? But if there is no He-Man, what happened to Eternia? The answer is simple, and it is devastating. Skeletor struck before the hero could ever rise. He attacked Castle Grayskull and seized it before Adam could claim his power. The fortress fell. The masters of the universe were scattered to the wind. And the sorceress, keeper of every secret Grayskull holds, is now a prisoner inside her own castle, while Skeletor tries to break her silence and extract the power that would make him truly untouchable. But Skeletor didn't stop at the castle. Using his dark magic, he reached into the minds of every warrior, every ally, every soul who could stand against him, and erased them. Not killed, erased, stripped of their identity, their memories, their purpose, left behind as hollow ghosts in a world that no longer remembered they ever mattered. Adam is perhaps the most dangerous piece on this board. The hero who was wiped from his own identity, far from any sword, far from any destiny. But here is what Skeletor did not count on. The truth always finds a way back. For Adam, it comes in the form of a falcon, a bird that follows him through the forest, watching, testing, until a moment of danger forces Adam into a confrontation he should not be able to survive. And the falcon guides every single step. When a creature sent directly by Skeletor attacks, something happens that no ordinary woodcutter should be capable of. The movements are instinctive. The body reacts with impossible precision. The strength is far beyond anything a lumberjack should possess. Adam wins the fight, without knowing how. And Zoar, because that is exactly who the falcon is, the sorceress's messenger, watches every strike, every instinct, every movement that belongs to a warrior, not a woodcutter. The body remembers what the mind was forced to forget. And that single detail changes everything. Skeletor receives the news of Beastman's defeat, and he does not hesitate. Adam must be stopped, whatever the cost. Guided by Zoar through the desert wastelands of Eternia, Adam spots riders on the horizon. Exhausted and thirsty, he approaches expecting help. Fatal mistake. The riders recognize something in him, and Adam is captured, thrown at the feet of their leader, Cronus, the man the world would come to know as Trapjaw, a warrior with a jaw of iron and not a single drop of mercy. Trapjaw lives by one rule: any prisoner can earn their freedom. All they have to do is fight every one of his men, one by one, until someone accepts the petition. No one has ever survived it. Adam picks up a sword for the first time in this life. And that is when He-Man's muscle memory takes over completely. He doesn't win because he remembered who he is. He wins because his body remembers before his mind does. Every stance is the product of a lifetime of training he cannot recall. Trapjaw's men fall one by one. But just as escape feels real, the ground shakes. And through the dust and the chaos, Tila appears. But this is not the Tila you remember. She is a lone survivor, hard as stone, suspicious of everything and everyone. She does not recognize Adam. To her, he is just another prisoner who got lucky. But she was there at exactly the right moment. And that is not a coincidence. Together, not quite allies, not quite strangers, they move through the ruins of Eternia. Adam doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to protect his father and understand why his entire life feels like a lie. But Zoar keeps appearing, guiding, insisting. And Skeletor, deep inside Grayskull, feels the awakening. He turns to the sorceress, still his prisoner, and demands she reveal the secrets to unlocking the castle's full power. She answers with absolute silence. Not a word, not a glance, not a single sign of surrender. Skeletor's patience is not infinite. The obstacles multiply. Adam and Tila discover that one of the masters, the weapons expert, the mentor who should have been He-Man's most trusted ally, is now serving evil Lyn, corrupted, controlled, guarding a volcano where she has taken refuge. When Adam and Tila arrive seeking answers, the man blocking their path is the very same man who, in another timeline, trained the young prince from the very beginning. Fighting a controlled ally is not just physically difficult. It is painful in a way Adam cannot put into words, because the memories haven't returned yet. But something inside him recognizes what his mind still cannot name. He is fighting someone he loves. He just doesn't know it yet. Evil Lyn, cornered in her volcanic sanctuary, tries to escape. But when she opens the door, Adam is already on the other side. She has answers. And now, she has no choice. With memory flashes growing stronger, an ancient castle, a sword burning bright, a battle cry rising from somewhere deep inside his chest. Adam is almost there. But Skeletor accelerates everything. The sorceress remains imprisoned, silent, refusing to eat, refusing to speak, refusing to bow before the enemy who seized the fortress she devoted her entire existence to protecting. And then comes the most brutal moment in the entire comic. Skeletor, impatient, furious, without a shred of mercy, kills the sorceress. Inside the walls of the castle she spent her life defending, taken down by the very enemy she spent her life fighting. The comic does not soften it. It does not cut away. It lets it land with full weight. And on the battlefield, when He-Man finally awakens, Skeletor uses it as a weapon. He shows Adam exactly what he did. And Adam, for the first time in this entire story, loses all control. Not strategy, pure rage. And Skeletor smiles, because that is exactly what he wanted. But before the final confrontation, there is one battle no one could have predicted. With Adam on the verge of fully recovering his identity, Skeletor plays his cruelest card. The Battle Cat, the creature that in another life was He-Man's most loyal companion, is sent against him. Fighting a corrupted ally is devastating enough. But fighting a companion who no longer recognizes you, who has been turned into a weapon aimed directly at you, that is a different kind of cruelty entirely. And it is in this moment that Adam finally understands the full weight of everything he lost. Not just the power, not just the sword, but the bonds, the memories, the companions he left behind without ever knowing they existed. In the chaos of that final battle, his hand finds the sword, and everything detonates at once. Memory, grief, responsibility. and raw power. He-Man awakens, not as a colorful cartoon hero, not as a children's toy, as a tragic symbol. The warrior who was erased from his own world and chose to return anyway. The final confrontation with Skeletor is unlike anything the old show ever dared to show. Skeletor uses his staff to crack the ground open, flooding the battlefield in fire. He taunts, he humiliates, he weaponizes the sorceress's death. And it works, because He-Man charges with fury instead of focus. Skeletor disarms him. The sword of power falls into the fissure of fire. Game over? No. Because it is in that exact moment, powerless, surrounded by flames, carrying grief he's barely begun to process, that Adam understands something that changes everything. It was never the sword. The power of Grayskull does not live in the blade. It lives in him. No sword, no power of Grayskull. One single strike, and Skeletor falls into the lava. But the story doesn't end there. A hooded figure emerges from the shadows. Not Adam, not Teela. Something older, something that watched all of this. It stands over Skeletor's broken body and speaks without mercy. Did you finally understand? The power of Grayskull was never yours to take, because the power chooses its host, not the other way around. And then, the twist that changes everything. It is not yet your time to die, Skeletor of Eternia. You will live. You will fight another day. I wouldn't have it any other way. If you enjoyed uncovering this secret, drop a comment below. I read every single one. See you in the next secret.